Okay, so Lizzie, her name is Lizzie Fancy, and she's married to Mr. Fancy. And you'll see from some of their financials, why that is, why they have the name Fancy. Um, and so our goal always is to maximize retirement income and minimize tax impact. Okay. So we're going to chat a little bit about that. And I do have a bunch of extras to add into the presentation this week. So I will, and some of them are interactive, so you can sort of hang on for that. So she was recently divorced in the last couple of years. She was married for more than 10 years, which is the minimum, and it is a hard 10 years, literally 10 years to the day. Um, she has about 5 years of professional earnings before she got married. She does have some smaller earnings from when she was in high school and college, which I didn't reflect here, but we'll see that a little bit when we talk about her earning record. Um, and she does own an apartment in New York City for $2.5 million that she got in her divorce. Mr. Fancy moved out and he got his own place. So that's a sizable piece of real estate. And one thing to be aware of when you have an apartment or a condominium or a co-op, even if you own it outright, you have a fairly large expense in the form of what is called maintenance. So that means every month you make a payment to sort of for the upkeep of the general building. Now in New York City, that upkeep payment can be, and in many times is greater than even a mortgage payment, maybe elsewhere in the country, right? It is not unheard of to spend, I don't know, 40, 50, 60, 70, even more $1,000 a month or a year, just to make your maintenance payments. So I think as we go through Lizzie's scenario, you'll see her 100,000 per year expenditures. Probably most of that is the maintenance of her building. So I think, one of the things that if I were here talking to Lizzie is, I think that piece of real estate needs to be thought of pretty in depth. And so she's probably gonna have to think about whether or not she's going to keep that real estate, right? There are other much lower cost options for her. Maybe not in New York City, but she's going to have to talk to a tax advisor and kind of think pretty deeply about that number. In addition, she got from the divorce a portion of the retirement account, and her portion is $2 million. So, she does have cash, which is good. And she will be working at the museum gift shop for $47,000 a year, plus a small commission. So when we think about Lizzie, we already talked about her real estate. I think that's an important conversation to be had. But the question she has is, does she even qualify for Social Security because of her minimal um, uh, earnings, right? And if she does, how many years does she have to work? And if not, how long does she have to work to qualify? And how will she pay her expenses? When should she start taking money out of her IRA? And what are her Social Security options? Does she qualify for benefits from her husband? And what happens if Mr. Fancy dies, right? Will she get a survivor benefit, even though they're no longer married? Okay,